Hello everybody, it's been I think about 5 weeks since the last episode of TotemCast. Main issue for that was I had a very bad case of bronchitis and just a lack of time. But I'm back, I feel about 99.9% better, and we're going to go ahead and discuss the 15 things I have on my wish list for the level 30 bracket. Now, we've been doing this for over 3 years, and we have actually gotten some of the things on my original wish list, which includes Torghast, fixing legendaries, and of course fixing the item enchants. For a good while, we were only able to enchant our weapons and our rings, and it just kind of felt half empty, you know what I mean? Or half full. We didn't feel fully complete. But Blizzard actually came around and they delivered. Torghast was one I was hoping for since Shadowlands for the level 30 bracket, and they finally did it. And it has been, well, it's been phenomenal. I've had a lot of fun doing Torghast. I feel like there's a lot of potential there for all kinds of things we can do. But as for the 15, we're going to start off at number 1 with Warfronts. Warfronts came out in BFA. They have not always historically been popular, but I feel like it'd be something really cool if we were able to do. I actually really like the Warfronts. I like the armor, everything you can get out of it. It was fun. Like if you played Warcraft 3, it was just kind of like a good. It was like a good memory of that for me, I guess. Number 2 is Cata Raids. So at level 30, we have up to 21 raids. 22 if you include the classic anniversary raid, Blackrock Depths. But I don't think we're able to do that one anymore, unfortunately. And if you want to include the time walking for Black Temple and Ulduar, I guess you can include those as 2 separate ones, even though they are pretty much the same raid, but you can actually play at a higher level, so it doesn't have to necessarily be level 30, everything scales up. My personal opinion, I think all raids should do that. I think it'd be a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, and I think it'd be better for a community if we had that, but that's just my personal opinion, of course. But as it currently stands, Cataclysm had some really interesting raids, and it had some good legendaries. And, you know, the 2 legendaries that I'm mainly talking about is the Fangs of the Father and the Terragosa one. The Terragosa legendary would be good for casters, because at level 30, casters don't really get a legendary. If we had Autiesh from original Nax, that would have been great, but we don't. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get that one anytime soon. Even though if you go to Wildhead, you can actually look up Autiesh for level 30 and you can see the stats. It's really not an amazing legendary, but it's still something cool, and I think casters would benefit from that. Fangs of the Father are the rogue legendary. You get that from Dragon Soul. I think that'd be really good for rogues at level 30. I'm not sure about the scaling of the weapon itself, but it'd be nice if rogues had some kind of like boost, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, rogue doesn't really get a whole lot at level 30. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it's really fun to play, but when it comes to the PvE aspect of it, it falls short quite a bit, and it kind of bums me out because rogue's a lot of fun, and I would really appreciate seeing rogue do a little bit better. So that takes me to number 3 is mastery gear. A lot of classes benefit from mastery, and unfortunately we don't actually get to take advantage of mastery too much. Now, back in Dragonflight, you could actually farm Warforged gear from Warlords of Draenor, but it's not really viable anymore unless you just like really grind it out and get the sockets. Like if the gear will drop a socket bonus or whatever on top of being Warforged, which is like what, a 0.1% chance of that even happening. So you'd have to really try your hardest and just sacrifice your life just to obtain that. And a lot of classes like Demon Hunter would really benefit from mastery, but because we don't really have access to it outside of a couple enchants or whatnot, then it kind of just falls short, and it's kind of sad, you know. It would be a good thing to have. So that kind of ties in with number 2 with Cata Raids, or just even Cata Dungeons scaled properly, or just even any kind of dungeon scaled properly, because we could have a chance to take advantage of that. As of right now, most of our mastery we can even get comes from whatever the Mythic Plus season rotation is, and we can do some of the dungeons and farm the rings out and socket them. That's pretty much where we're going to have to get that from. Number 4, this one is a personal beef that I have. The Legion Order Hall. Now, I loved Legion. A lot of people loved Legion. Just the class fantasy, everything about it, the artifact weapons. The Order Hall itself is a lot of fun. And I have done this twice now, and I forgot about it the first time I did it. But I was trying to do the Legion Order Hall campaign originally on my monk, and you can only go a certain amount before you have to scale to a higher level just to complete it, which is annoying because it was just a waste of time. And then about a year later, I was doing it again and completely forgot about it, and same result. And it's just kind of like one of those things that I feel like Blizzard should really just let us have it. Like, what is the point of letting us start the quest line if you can't complete the quest line, if you can't just do it? I don't understand why not everything can't just scale to level 30. Because that's pretty much where everything just kind of starts with the open world. If you know what I mean. If you played Twinking, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't see the issue of why it's even gatekeeped with levels anyways. Like, who's it hurting? But that's just me. Number 5, more heroic dungeons. As it currently stands, we can do TBC and Wrath of the Lich King heroic dungeons. It's a lot of fun. Some of them are pretty hard, especially if you have a smaller group. A full 5-man group of heroics is something I really want to do more often with our community. Just not so much as focused on the raids, but I feel like dungeons have a lot of potential and there's a lot of fun. If you could just have more option for more heroic dungeons. Like even Cata dungeons would be great. Legion dungeons, obviously, because as the expansions go on, the harder dungeons come from the later expansions, so why not just include that? I don't really see the big deal. Mythic, I can kind of understand that one, but even then, I think we should at least have Mythic dungeons as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So number 6 is the level 3 Garrison. Level 3 Garrison would be very cool. I would be very happy about that. I've got the level 2 Garrison on all of my Twinks, and I did that because you could actually build some of the structures there to help you increase the chance of Warforged gear. So back in Dragonflight, I was able to farm out Warforged gear more efficiently. And if you needed the mastery, which ties back in with number 3, it was probably like the best way to go about doing it. But it always bugged me that we never got to level 3 because I like to complete things on my monk, my main, Lucario. I want him to have access to everything that's available. And it really bums me out when I can't finish the Legion Order Hall or even get a level 3 Garrison because for some reason it's locked, which also stops me from doing the shipyard, and I would like to complete the shipyard as well. But, I mean, hey, this is the point of the wish list, right? Number 7 is the fixed professions. So back in Shadowlands, we were able to craft a lot of our gear, like the Spellfire set, and it was BIS. So if you played a caster, you wanted to have the Spellfire set. Come Dragonflight, that kind of just screwed up the scaling, so a lot of the crafted gear just no longer really matters anymore, unfortunately. I don't know exactly what they did wrong, because maybe it's just a different item code or whatnot. But some items that are unique, like the tiny abomination trinket. So I have on my warrior a item level 35 of tiny A-bomb, but I also have a max level tiny A-bomb. So it doesn't make any sense to me. So unless they just change the item code, I don't know why they would do that instead of just scaling the item itself. It can't be that hard. They've done it for the legendaries. And when they did it for the legendaries, I was very happy about that because I put in so many tickets. A lot of us put a lot of tickets in. I bombarded them with tickets about it like almost every single day until they fixed it. So I don't know if it was because of our community or just people doing time walking. I don't know, but I'm happy. And that was another thing they give us as well, was time walking. That was another thing on my original wish list. I wanted to be able to do the time walking dungeons past Wrath. And now we can, thanks to the anniversary event. So slowly but surely we are getting things that I really wanted for us. Number 8 is melee buffs and caster nerfs. So if you play level 30, I have noticed some stuff. Melee is pretty terrible when it comes to raiding. But when it's in dungeons, it performs very well. And it is the complete opposite when it comes to caster. When it's in a raid, casters usually do very good, like Shadow Priest or... I can't think right now. Warlock, all 3 Warlock specs are just phenomenal in raids. But when it comes to running dungeons, not so much. And, that's obviously because the cast timing, when, like, Bailey classes like Rogue and Warrior, we could just instantly attack. So you could just spam your AoE and kill everything really quickly. I feel like there needs to be a nice little balance in between, because I feel like melee should either do more damage or casters should do half the damage that they do. It is crazy when you look at some of our raid logs, and it's not saying that our players are bad, because we do got some bad players, but we're more of a casual community, but we do have some really good players as well. And the damage is completely just, it's night and day. Like, you can never compete with the Shadow Priest at all. They do almost twice as much damage as a normal person would do. Or if you play Rogue, they're doing 3 or 4 times your damage. Or a Death Knight, they're doing like 5 times your damage. It's ridiculous. It just kind of makes everything the caster meta, and it's kind of annoying because I'd like to see more melee out there in the raids. So number 9 is Transmog from the current expansion. Now this one isn't really exactly a 30s exclusive thing out of everything else I'm listing right now, but I really would like to be able to get Transmog from the current expansion. I don't like that it's gatekept. To me it makes absolutely no sense, and I don't think it's good. Some of the cool Transmog I get from the expansion I can't even use until the next expansion. So it just kind of bums me out not really want to do max level stuff. And that's the problem, because I like doing max level stuff. I really like doing 30 stuff too. You know, if you can't twink, then what's the problem? Number 10 is the open world. I would like the open world to be much harder. Back in Shadowlands it was way harder than it is now. And that was because I think the scaling was a lot more better. It's probably not a good word to use, but I feel like it was a lot better. And come Dragonflight, we obviously were like twice as powerful while everything else stayed the same. And the War Within, it felt like it was a little bit more balanced, but just not the same. So in Shadowlands, I could still go out there and fight random mobs in the open world if I was doing quests or whatnot, and it was tough. It was like a fight for life or death, kind of like how Classic was. And I really liked that. I don't want to feel like a god walking out to Durotar. You know, I'd rather like have a bunch of raptors and scorpions on me and kind of fight for my life here. It makes me feel good. If I kill everything too fast, I don't exactly feel like I'm getting stronger as a twink, if that makes sense. If I'm fighting and then I die to a bunch of mobs and then I get better gear and then I fight and then I can actually kill them while still taking damage, I feel better. I don't know, maybe it's just me, because I know not everybody agrees with that. A lot of people just want to feel like a god when they step foot out anywhere, and I've never been a big fan of that kind of thinking. So, I don't know. Number 11 is a very requested thing. So a lot of people have been asking for tier gear since Shadowlands, probably even before that. I don't know. I twinked off and on over the years. I've started twinking in Cataclysm, and I don't know. I think we had access to tier gear all the way up until I think WOD, or maybe it was BFA. I really don't remember the exact timeline on that. But eventually they made it where Legacy Loot was no longer able to have the bonus procs or the tier sets or the bonuses or whatever you want to call them. And I mean, it's understandable why, because it was too OP and it was breaking a lot of the game. A lot of people are upset about it. I mean, I am more understanding on this, and I don't always just say like fuck Blizzard on everything that they do. And I'm not mad that they did this. It's just I kind of wish that they could just allow us to have it, but just nerf the item itself. I don't see what the problem is and why it's so hard to do that. But it is what it is. Luckily, some dungeons you can actually do the heroic version and BC, and you can actually get a dungeon tier set with the procs and everything still working. The bonus sets, it's actually pretty good. Some of those items are actually BIS for a lot of classes. It's a matter of farming them out. It's the problem. Number 12 is allow Horde and Alliance to queue together. Now, this one's also not a 30 exclusive issue, but this is just my gripe. I've been asking for this for years. We're really at this point in the game where the Horde and the Alliance faction war stuff just doesn't matter, because we always end up teaming to kill the big bad anyways, if you do max level stuff. So I don't understand why we still cannot work together. Now, they made it where you can actually queue together if you have a full group, but that's assuming you have a full group. I don't want that. I want to just be able to hit the dungeon queue and just pop in with random people. Some servers on specific factions or whatever, it's just a lot of stuff is just dead. So if you're playing Alliance on Thrall, for instance, there's really no other Alliance characters there, and it just sucks. But if you go to Moonguard, there's just more Alliance than Horde. And I imagine if you played Horde, or even on like Worm Rest or Horde, there's no alliance or whatever. I feel like if you could just queue up together, it wouldn't be a big deal. I know some people would be mad about that, but honestly, who gives a shit? Like, that's the way I look at it. We're at this point now where we literally just work together in the game all the time anyways, so what's the problem? I don't know. The moment we get this, a lot of my characters are going to go alliance, because I've been an alliance fanboy for a while, and I've always wanted to have a level 30 alliance character without having to restart a character. I don't want to have to restart a character. I shouldn't have to restart a character. But this is just my opinion. Number 13, allow personal achievement points again. Now this is a strict Lucario mindset. I had a personal challenge in our community for people to have the highest achievement points possibly gained from a level 30. I feel like that's just a bigger way to just show how much you play your character, how good you are with your character. It's like a personal tracker, and I really like that. Now, come with the War Within, with one of the more recent patches, they actually made everything Warbound, which includes the achievement points, which just really kind of screwed up everything that I had worked on. Because for like a year, I was working on my achievement points. A lot of people were. This one guy actually paid him a WoW token for actually getting over 10,000 achievement points, which is an achievement on its own for a level 30. I was struggling to get about 5,000, so the fact that he was able to get to 10,000 is just bananas. It's completely crazy. But he was able to do it, so, you know, props to him. And he got a WoW token out of it. And then, like, within a month of this happening, Blizzard decided to Warforge, or Warfront, or whatever it's called, Warbank, or you know what I mean. Everything's war. But they kind of just made it where it was just obsolete, and it kind of ruined everything, so I wasn't happy about that. But again, this is more of a personal wish list thing. The other ones, other people have asked for this stuff too. Number 14, fix the raid scaling. For the love of God, please. Some raids are just brain dead easy, like Garrison. That is a glorified 5-man dungeon. You can even 2-man that one if you are like fully geared. And then other raids like ICC, you need to bring your fucking A game. You need to have the best of the best. Or whatever, you need to have that kind of stuff. Some raids like Malagos and the Eye of Eternity, you can 3-man that one with no issue. And then you got other raids like Sunwell Plateau, where you need to have at least 10 people, at least. I would like it if they made all the raids at least more even. They used to be like that in Shadowlands. Everything was pretty much... Shadowlands was a good time. I always make a reference to Shadowlands for our community because that's when I feel like we were at our best. The content was a lot harder. It made community a lot stronger, especially when it came to raiding or just anything. I don't understand why it didn't maintain like that. Like, how could they possibly scale it more? But we're about to have a level squish or item squish pretty soon again, from what I understand. I think that's happening in World of Warcraft Midnight. So we may be able to go back to the old ways. I'm really hoping. I do know that Mythic Plus is like a big factor in this, and it's kind of ruined the scaling for everything. But it is what it is, right? And last but not least, number 15. This is my most requested thing. This is what I play World of Warcraft for. I've been always a big PvP fan. Battlegrounds, epic Battlegrounds. Hell, even arena skirmishes, arenas itself. I used to do a lot of arenas back in Cataclysm. I would really like to have the Battlegrounds. And for whatever reason, Blizzard made it where level 30s cannot queue Battlegrounds. If we do any kind of PvP, we have to do it together. We have to organize it, and it's not the same. And I understand the complaints. You don't want to do a random battleground and get ganked by a bunch of twinks. I fully understand that. Twinks are usually very toxic. I try hard for our community not to be like that. And for about 99% of the time, we're not. There's some like misconceptions with the EU players, because I guess it's just like a different culture where they come across like that, but I know they're just talking like normal people, and that's just how it is. And sometimes in NA we could be a little toxic too, but we're just not like how it would be on XP Off. XP Off is like a cesspool. It's a dead zone of just stupidity. And I feel like our community has been a lot better about that kind of stuff. We've had our faults, of course, obviously, but nobody's perfect. But when it comes to Battlegrounds, I really want us to have it again. My thing is, if you're going to do a Battleground at a low level just to level up, and then you get ganked by some twinks, There's no reason to get mad, because you could just always queue up again, or you could just, you know, quest or just do a dungeon, or hell, if you're really lazy, you could just buy a WoW boost. There's so many ways to level up, and I don't feel like us being penalized is a good enough reason or response anymore, but that's just me, personally. And I have also said this too, if they give us Battlegrounds again, I will probably never go to max level ever again. And that shouldn't hurt Blizzard too bad, because at level 30 we are still paying for a sub, and I feel like that's perfectly fine. They are still getting my money at the end of the day. They are still getting my subscription. They're not losing out on anything, except for maybe statistics on doing like max level content, but that's fine because I just did random Battlegrounds anyways. I didn't participate in Gladiator or World First, or I barely do Mythic Plus just to get them out, or, you know, the title, and I'm done for the season. I don't really care about pushing up to 20s or whatever it is now. I just get them out and I'm done. Keystone Master, cool, whatever. I'm never going to do Mythic raiding. It's too hard. It's too ridiculous. I wish raids weren't as difficult as they are, but they are. I felt like when they were a lot easier, it was better for the community, but they made it too hard because they're trying to, like, compete or whatever, and I don't know. It's just more fun in the classic setting, in my opinion. But again, this is just my opinion. I know a lot of people do agree with me, but I know other people don't. I have a friend that argues with me about this stuff all the time. But he also never played the old school version of the game. He never played classic. He doesn't understand. I get that. It's fine. It is what it is. But those are my 15, and I'll give you one bonus one. And I really want this one to come in, so I guess super secret number 16. Please, for the love of God, give us the artifact fishing pole. I'm just asking, Blizzard, please. I like to fish. I really like the artifact fishing pole. I think it's ridiculous that it doesn't tell you, but you apparently have to be level 40 just to get the damn thing. Many hours of me and a couple other people spent farming that damn thing, and it just, you can't get it. It's ridiculous, but who knows, maybe one day, right? I mean, they've given us 4 other things that I've desired in, you know, in the past, and who's to say they won't give us the rest of this stuff. But if they do, you can always just reference this episode of TotemCast. But that's it for this week. I will be back probably pretty soon, actually. We're going to get back on a regular schedule for this. So thank you for listening. Leave a like if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.